This is gonna be great because I'm gonna be like totally fucking condescending to myself. It's awesome. My alter ego will be asking me questions, so these are my answers. So, like, are you technically morbidly obese? Yes, I believe that initially when I started that I had 100 to 110 pounds to lose, which I believe from the research I've done is technically morbidly obese. I have now lost 45 pounds, so I'm now merely obese. Morbid obesity is diagnosed by determining the BMI, or the body mass index. BMI is defined by the ratio of an individual's height to his or her weight. A normal BMI ranges from 20 to 25 pounds. Like, how old are you and how much do you weigh? Well, I am 45 now, 45, and I now weigh 201 pounds as of a couple days ago, but I believe I started at 245 pounds this time. So I've heard that it's like more complicated than calories in and calories out. How true is that? Yeah, you know, mathematically speaking, it should be just that simple as calories in, calories out. But you have to take into account, you know, cravings, one's relationship with food, and I just read an article talking about how high fructose corn syrup was added to food in like around the 70s, which kind of just changed our cultural eating habits, so to speak. You know, you have to deal with people seeking out certain flavors like fatty food or fatty, you know, salty food, sugary food. You know, you have to approach changing your diet, and you have to do battle with, you know, your lizard brain that likes sweet things or salty things or fat things, you know. And I believe it can be done. I do, you know, and obviously I've, you know, lost quite a bit of weight. I believe anyone can make healthier choices. And it just takes one small step, you know, one change. You know, in the article that I just read, it talked about how adding the high fructose corn syrup to our diets elevated our caloric intake to 278 calories a day or something. And over time that adds up, you know, and I mean, that's just like cutting out a soda or two a day, you know. So just a simple change like that can have a massive effect. So, like, why do you think you're obese? I didn't start out this way. I think I've been fit for half my life and obese for half my life. When I was young, I lived in the country, and, you know, there was around livestock, and I had, you know, lots of work to do, you know, physical labor kind of work stuff to do. My father was obese, however, he struggled with his weight. Which is weird because you'd think it'd be my mom, but no, my mom was very slim, and I think she had her own issues. But my dad, he struggled with sweet things. And then at some point, you know, I became a stress eater. You know, I moved from my very physical job to very sedentary jobs that were a little more high stress, you know. So I became an emotional eater. I liked high calorie stuff, you know, sweet stuff. And then, of course, I moved to the big city and became more sedentary, like I said. So then I started eating, you know, junk and fast food, which when I was a kid, I didn't, you know. So I think that had a big effect. You know, and I don't think I had a bad childhood. You know, a lot of people can kind of point to something in their childhood that happened. And I think I actually had a really good childhood. I just think that, you know, over time, just because of the change in my lifestyle, you know, caused me to you know, get pounds on, you know, and then, like I said, my mother was very thin, and I feel that, you know, she would say stuff about my weight, even though when I was younger, I didn't think I was fat, you know, but she would say stuff about my weight and call me fat and stuff like that. So I do think that had quite a bit of an effect on me, though.
So, like, have you tried to diet?
I'm a yo-yo dieter. So, and I was reading this book on intuitive eating, and I mean, basically, according to that book, I am like, I know all the things. I know, I am a professional dieter. That's what I'm trying to say. And I've lost most of my weight, not all of it, but most of my weight 3 other times. And then I usually, something happens, I can almost pinpoint, oh, this day I ate a candy bar and my weight went right back up. So I know how to lose weight. I'm just not so sure I know how to keep it off.
So, like, what makes you think that this time will be different and you'll, like, keep the weight off?
That's a great question. I think this time will be different because I'm going slower. I'm not as psycho. Because in looking back, a big influence on me was The Biggest Loser, and they would work these people until they were vomiting and stuff like that. And if you weren't working that hard, you weren't working, and so I had this belief that I had to be, near passing out, vomiting to have any effectiveness on my workouts. So that's how I used to work out. And at some point that became something that I couldn't sustain, especially, I had some added stresses happen in my life. I couldn't sustain it. So, my weight went right back up. And then I also thought that I could outrun a bad diet. So I'd eat a candy bar and then be like, okay, well, I need to spend, another hour on the treadmill trying to work this off. And, and now I'm kind of, realizing that, yeah, I can't outrun a bad diet, and my bad diet would, kind of negate any of the healthy things I'm doing for myself, any of the workouts that I'm doing for myself. So I'm trying to, cut back on that and actually eat more healthfully and not eat junk with the idea of, oh, well, I can just work it off later, because that's a really bad trap to get into. And, and now I'm taking the approach of, okay, my goal weight could be 150, could be 120. I don't know, but that's roughly where I think my goal is. And so I think to myself now, well, what would 135-pound me do? Like on Christmas, I'm like, so I have a couple of sugar cookies. I gained 3 pounds. What would I do if I was 135 pounds? Well, I probably wouldn't panic. I would just go, okay, well, I need to, maybe eat a few more salads this week or something. And so I'm trying to take it slow with that mindset of, what would I do? And also the mindset of, is this sustainable? And is this something that I can maintain over the long term? Because at my age, 45, I don't think I can do this again. Because if I gain all the weight back, it'll probably be another 10 years before I'm like, oh, hey, I should probably lose weight, and I just don't think I can do that again. I think it would be too difficult. I don't know if I can keep the weight off, but I'm hoping that the older, wiser version of myself can actually keep it off. So we'll see. I mean, it could be a train wreck. I don't know. Let's find out.
What does your diet look like now?
I am trying to make healthier changes. I am trying to incorporate like more salads and different types of salads, because I don't particularly care for lettuce. And I always, in my mind, thought lettuce went in salads, and that's the only kind of salad there was. So, I'm eating like kale salads now, and I'm eating a lot more vegetables. I'm definitely not perfect. I do mess up and eat candy. I just made a video on it where I had bought this bag of candy and I ended up eating it. I'm definitely staying away from chocolate, but I did have a mistake recently. But I am definitely trying to stay away from that stuff. And I realize that I'm a work in progress, and I feel if I'm stressed or emotional, I make a point of getting out of the house, going and taking a walk, or going and petting my horse, which you can probably hear her over there. And if I feel hungry at an odd point in the day, I'll think to myself, well, I'm actually probably not hungry. I'm probably thirsty. So then I'll have a glass of water or 2, and if I find that I'm still hungry, then, after about 30 minutes, then I will go ahead and have a little something, but probably something like 100 calories or left, less. So, have a cheese stick or something like that, or,
So like, did you play any sports in high school?
You know what? I have this fantasy that I like to run. I want so badly to run, and one year I went out for the track team in high school, and my parents actually made me quit. They couldn't understand the point of me doing track when I could be riding my horse, you know, because I wanted a rodeo. So, you know, I could see their point. So I quit, you know, to be able to spend more time with my horses. And, you know, now I don't know what I would have done. Maybe I would have tried to, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of agreed with what they said, so I did quit.
So, did you do band?
Actually, no. That probably would have helped because it would have been marching, wouldn't it? No, I didn't actually get into a band until my 30s. So, and that was marching. So, and a lot of physical breathing and squeezing and stuff. So, probably would have been beneficial to be in band.
So, like, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food, I love pizza, and I love shrimp, and I love cookies, and I love chocolate, and all that kind of stuff that's not good for me. You know, I love Oreo cookie shakes, and I used to go to, is it Jack in the Box? I think it was Jack in the Box, and get an Oreo cookie shake and sour cream bacon potato wedges all the time. I mean, that probably seriously contributed to my weight gain, but yeah, that kind of stuff is my favorite.
So, like, did you get bullied?
First off, I think everyone gets bullied to a certain extent, you know, whether, you know, it's for your hair or your shoes or your parents or, you know, whatever. You're always going to get bullied, and the more I think that restrictions are placed on bullying, I think the more severe it becomes. You know, I wasn't bullied for my weight because, you know, I don't think I was very heavy. I might have been chubby, but I wasn't, like, obese when I was a kid. I was bullied for living in a rural area, you know, being poor and coming to school with muddy boots and worn clothing, like my backpack smelling of cigarette smoke because my mom smoked. You know, whatever I was wearing wasn't the in thing, you know, because I generally wore like jeans and a t-shirt and tennis shoes, and that was not in, you know, that was kind of my uniform every day. And I was an easy target for people because I wouldn't do anything to fight back in particular. It wasn't until later that I became a freak, and then it didn't really matter anymore. I've always been bullied for something, you know, and I think a lot of people will disagree with me, but I think it was a valuable lesson because now I really don't care what people think of me. And the last person who I cared what they thought was my mom. She's passed on.
So have you, like, used your talents to win eating contests?
No. God, no. I don't think I have talents because I'm a grazer. So I will eat, you know, I'll eat breakfast and then I'll eat some other stuff and then I'll eat something else and I'll eat lunch, you know, and I've discovered this over time, you know, because then I would get to dinner and I wouldn't really be very hungry, you know, because I'd spent all day grazing, you know. So no, I don't think I would be very successful at that.
So, like, what do you think about the whole body positivity movement?
That's kind of a hard one. You know, I agree with some points, but I disagree with others, you know. I agree that everyone should be treated with respect and no one should be, you know, looked over for jobs or anything like that because they are heavy, and, you know, I mean, within reason, of course, you know. If somebody who's 600 pounds wants to be a firefighter, I'm not sure how they could pass the physical test for that, but, you know, I also don't see any reason people shouldn't be comfortable in their skin. But that being said, though, I feel like the movement is detrimental. I think that it lets people delude themselves into thinking they're healthy and that they're okay and, you know, everything's wonderful, but it isn't, and they aren't. You know, they're you know, they have undiscovered health concerns. You know, for myself recording this, you know, I just had a scare that there was something wrong with my kidneys, you know. I didn't feel any different, but, you know, some tests came back from the doctor that there was something wrong with my kidneys. You know, I did complete the testing and they said everything looked good, you know, it was just a fluke, but, you know, I mean, that was a scare. I didn't think there was anything wrong with me, you know, and there was maybe. So, you know, it's a hard one.
So do you like have to buy 2 plane tickets?
No, not. No, but when I did fly over to Sweden just, you know, over the last summer, yeah, the seats were very narrow, and, you know, I like to wear these, like BDU pants with the pockets on the side, so being fat and then having everything jammed in my pockets kind of made it a little, you know, tight.
Have you been diagnosed with anything?
Well, yes. But I don't know that it's weight related. I have migraines, I have endometriosis, I have adenomyosis. Yeah, I don't know if it's weight related though. I think it's pretty much luck of the draw on that one. Maybe it is, I don't know, weight related, I don't know.
So like, how many calories do you consume in a day?
Well, before losing weight, just kind of trying to reverse engineer what I was doing, I think I was eating 2,100 calories a day. And now I fall between like 15 and 1,700. I know that I do kind of undereat. And I try not to, but I do sometimes. It's weird because it's feast or famine, you know, no pun intended. I'm either, you know, mowing out on 2,100 calories or more, or I'm like struggling to get to 15 kind of thing. So
like, do you cook?
I don't really enjoy it. My roommate handles most of the cooking. I do have one day a week. I probably should do more days a week, but one day a week where I prepare the food, just, you know, because I know that I need to, you know, have a little more experience with cooking. And actually, kind of interesting, I think it was Alan Roberts who made the correlation between people not cooking and being obese. You know, it's like, oh, well, we can't cook, so we go buy, you know, McDonald's or whatever, you know.
So like, are your parents obese?
Well, like I said, my mom was very thin, but my dad, he was obese. He did struggle with his weight. Some of that was due to taking prednisone that does cause you to balloon up. But yeah, I think I did pick up some of my dad's eating habits, you know. So yeah, one parent.
So like, what is the worst advice you've ever gotten about losing weight?
Well, there was this guy at work who he would go around and he would say, "I'm the machine." Well, now I think I know where he got that from another comedian. This guy wanted to be a stand-up comic, so that made sense. But he said to me at one point, if I wanted to lose weight, that what I'd do is I would get like a pack of like the cook-in bag frozen vegetables, and just eat that for the day. That would be my full day's caloric intake or whatever. And I'm like, really? Because I mean, yeah, it's like 4 servings, but like 45 calories per serving, you know. I'm like, really? 180 calories for the day? Whew, maybe not so much on that. Actually, and the other piece of advice is how, as a woman, I shouldn't lift weights because I'll get big and bulky. And I saw on Instagram, I don't remember exactly who said it on Instagram, that's like saying that I'm afraid to drive a car because I don't want to be Mario Andretti. I mean, and I wish I would get big and bulky, but it's probably not in the cards for me. But most women aren't going to get big and bulky. Most dudes aren't going to get big and bulky. You know, it takes a lot of work to get that big. So that's another piece of advice, is don't lift weights. So don't listen to that, folks. Lift weights. It's good for you.
So like, did you develop an eating disorder to suppress past traumas?
Like, I don't think so, but then at the same time, when I say stuff like, oh, well, you know, my mom used to get on me for being fat, but I didn't think I was fat, or, you know, I think that I think both parents were alcoholics, but it wasn't like I had like some horrible, horrible thing that happened to me, you know. I can't point to any one massively horrible thing that happened to me. I think it was just because I moved into the city and I got sedentary and I didn't cook, so I ate fast food, and I think I just got into some really bad eating habits.
So, like, do you go to therapy or anything?
I don't currently. The only thing I've ever done is gone to family counseling. I have told my husband that if I start gaining the weight back, that he needs to get me into therapy. And I'm trying to make a kind of a silent vow to myself that if I start gaining weight back, that's going to be my immediate step, you know, is to get myself into therapy and try to figure out what's going on, you know, because maybe this problem is bigger than I think it is, but right now I don't necessarily think I need it. But who knows? Maybe I will. And I've thought about going and getting it, but not at this time.
So, like, what's your plan to slim down?
Oh, well, yeah. So it's like we talked about calories in, calories out. It's a caloric deficit. So what I need to do is continue eating my 15 or more. I should improve the quality of my food, which I'm trying to do. I'm lifting weights and I'm walking, and when I can afford it, I want to get a bike and just start riding that around. Once I'm 200 pounds, I'm going to try jogging again. I might not be able to because that gives me shin splints. Whatever it is that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure it's sustainable. And right now I'm also keeping a food journal of everything I eat and how many calories it is. And you know, I know some people disagree with that method, but you know, you got to have some way of measuring what goes in your face, you know, to know how much you're eating. I mean, once you get your goal weight, then you can start your intuitive eating and stuff. But I feel like before that, you need to measure what's going in your face. And along with, you know, keeping my food journal, journaling in general is really good. You know, just trying to figure out how to work through stress or issues that don't include eating my way through them.
So, like, do you feel like you're being judged when you walk around?
I don't really think I'm judged for my weight. I think I'm probably judged much more for my haircut and my hair color and maybe my clothes, much more than being fat.
So, like, do you catch people, like, staring at you?
Yeah, but again, I think it's much more for my hair, my clothes, my makeup, not so much me being obese. You know, I could relate some stories of people just being completely wigged out by my appearance sometimes, you know, when I get all dressed up. But yeah, I think it's much more for my aesthetics, not my weight.
Do you feel you have a food addiction?
I don't think I have a binge eating disorder.
Do you have, like, any last words or closing thoughts for the audience?
My closing thoughts. I think that anyone can take steps to be more healthy. They don't necessarily have to be stuck where they're at. I just don't understand the anti-movement, you know, with people. Even when I was big, I wasn't against just moving around or trying to eat healthy, you know. I think people would be shocked to know how bad that they actually feel, as opposed to, like, if they got up and they moved around and they lifted weights or, you know, just got out in the sunshine and fresh air, that they really feel awful a lot of the time. You know I am when I've lost the weight and stuff. To try and illustrate that, you know, I feel like I was a zombie from that movie Warm Bodies, with the little zombies that roam around. They kind of have thoughts, but they don't remember exactly, you know, and then the love story where the zombie finds the cute girl and everything and doesn't want to eat her. And I just feel in some ways that I'm just coming back to life, you know, that I was kind of dead before, you know, not to be overly you know, dramatic or to, you know. And the other thing, my other thought, not related necessarily to that one, was this channel. I think, well, I hope it helps people. I hope it helps you guys. I think a lot of this channel is me talking to myself and trying to convince myself of these things, you know, not necessarily me. I know that I couch it in me telling people and trying to help people, but I think a lot of what's happening on this channel is I'm telling myself these things and just recording it, you know, and I go back and I watch these videos and it tells me things, you know, and I hope that other people get stuff out of it. So, oh, and my last thing, yeah, how I always close my video. Air hugs, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Or maybe that's your line.
So, like, guys, I totally decided to do this in my crappy Valley Girl kind of sounding accent. So, please forgive me. It's all in good fun. But seriously, guys, I thought it would be funny to do it in that accent. I could have done like a crappy British accent or something too, so. But I hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, it's taken me a while to film that video. Anyway, air hug, guys. I believe you can do this, and I will see you in the next video. Probably not with blonde hair, but we'll see.
You know, when I was in the valley, when I lived in the valley, I think it had a lot to do with the heat. But I would binge watch. I would get up in the morning and I would, you know, of course my job was sedentary, but on weekends when you'd think, oh, you know, get out and do stuff, you know, I would get up and I would think to myself, well, I'll wake up and watch an episode of whatever I was binge watching at the time. And then I would spend the whole day, you know, I'd watch a couple episodes and be like, oh, I'll go after this episode. It's really interesting, you know, see what happens. And I would spend the whole day doing that until like 6 o'clock at night. And then it would be like, oh shit, what did I do with my day? Okay, well, tomorrow I will make sure to go out and do stuff. And then the next day I would do the exact same thing. And so, you know, I was very sedentary. I didn't go out on weekends, you know, it was not good. And then, so I moved up here, right? And I have all these aspirations of, okay, I'm going to move up here and I'm going to exercise. And, you know, just by the very nature of having to go take care of my animals and my horse and you know, I will lose weight. And then winter hit and I didn't move. And I think I probably gained 10 pounds. I don't know, 5 to 10 pounds over winter because I had lost a little bit because I had intentionally kind of decreased my caloric intake. But yeah, I think I gained some weight. And so now it's like I intentionally have to be like, okay, we need to go for a walk today or something. And that's how I started out, was just doing a 30-minute walk on my lunch hour for 5 days. That was the beginning. And so here we are. I'm weightlifting and doing walks and all kinds of stuff. So small beginnings.